So you want to be a rock star, huh? You think it's all private jets, vintage guitars, and sold out arenas. Let me hit you with some real talk. The music business is more like a never-ending episode of Survivor, only with worse catering and no prize money. I've toured all across the states, played with legends, and still had nights where I couldn't replace a broken string. If you think talent is all it takes, buckle up. Let's talk about what really separates the lifers from the lost. They told us if we practiced hard, played by the rules, shook the right hands, and waited our turn, we'd make it. But here's the truth. Making it is a myth. A glitter-covered carrot dangled in front of musicians to keep them grinding. There's no big door that opens where everything becomes easy. No one hands you a crown and says, "You've arrived." What you get instead is rejection, reinvention, and maybe, just maybe, a moment of clarity when you realize you were chasing the wrong dream all along. The lie of the finish line. Making it isn't a destination. It's a moving target duct taped to a flaming bus. You don't get a trophy. And even if you do get a trophy, like a gold album, which, by the way, I didn't get until I was 57 years old, it's still just something to hang on the wall. That shiny plaque won't put food on the table or gas in the van. It's a souvenir, not a paycheck. And nothing changes once you've gotten those. It wouldn't matter if I had 100 of them on the wall. What matters is that the phone rings with another opportunity. And no plaque or trophy on your wall is going to guarantee that you get to continue your career. Now, what they don't tell you about success. Success doesn't look like fame. It looks like learning to do your taxes after a $300 bar gig. You know, the reality is if you're working, if you've got money coming in, if you're able to pay your light bill, if you're able to pay your phone bill, if you're able to keep those things going and keep food on the table and your lights turned on, then that is success. And these days it gets harder and harder with things more expensive. Life is not easy. And man, there is no making it in the music business. And here's the reality. If you aren't able to do those things, nobody's coming to save you. There's no label, there's no manager, there's no fairy god producer. You've got to learn how to do it all yourself. That includes production, that includes your artwork, that includes doctoring up or photoshopping your photos, your social media. These days, you've got to learn to master all of those things. And there's no one person that's going to come along and make that happen. The reality is now labels are now looking and asking people if they are interested in you. They will ask you, how many followers do you have on Instagram? What is your YouTube doing? What is your TikTok? They want to know these numbers before they'll even take a look at you. You are the label. You are the brand. You are the engine and the mechanic. So look, the more you learn to master those things, the less you're going to need that guy rolling around in the shiny limousine with his silk suit on. If you learn to master the business, if you learn to master social media, then you won't need to give anybody else a cut. You will be the record label yourself. And that gives you your best opportunity at success. Now, the truth about the journey, you'll play empty rooms. You'll get ghosted by club owners. You'll split a taco and call it dinner. You'll chase trends, lose yourself, then claw your way back to what matters. It is a journey. It is not a destination, and you will be constantly on that journey, whether it's riding in vans or tour buses or private jets. You'll continue to be on this journey for life. That is, if you're a lifer. And if you're a lifer, it won't matter whether you're in the van or the tour bus or the private jet. Yes, rolling in the private jet is a lot easier way to go about it, but the road is still hard. You still have to perform, whether you feel great or whether you feel like death warmed over. And it becomes very evident that no matter how much success you have, everything is going to depend on you putting on a good show each night, because now all it takes is one bad performance and it'll be blasted all over the internet and people will tell you you're done. So you've got to stay on top of it. You've got to stay in shape. You've got to make sure you're able to put on a great performance every night. And let me tell you something, that's not easy, right? We are humans. We are not robots. We are not AI. And we sometimes make mistakes. We sometimes hit bum notes. But here's the deal. If you have a bad night, learn to brush yourself off and get back out there and do it, no matter what the internet tells you. Learn to brush critics off your shoulder and keep going, right? You are the label, you are the brand, you are the engine. I could remember living in LA, living in a tool shed, and having my phone turned off and not being able to call home and say, guess what? We're headlining the Whiskey A Go-Go on Friday. Those are the kind of moments that become very common if you're trying to climb your way to the top. Now, here's the reason why it's still worth it. Because there's nothing like plugging in, hitting a note, and watching a stranger's face melt. I think the greatest thing about being on stage is seeing the reaction from the audience. Going out there on a night, maybe a night where you're not feeling quite up to par, but then going out there, and because you've been grinding, because you've been working hard, your automatic pilot kicks in and that audience is overwhelmed by seeing how great you truly are. Going out there and seeing the smiles on people's faces, seeing people fired up, seeing people moving their feet, enjoying every single note that you play, that is what makes it all worthwhile. Here's what really makes it great. Adding unique moments in each show, creating something on the floor, creating something live. Look, when you have these modern shows today where everything's snapped to grid and there's backing tracks and the drummer's on a click and all that, that steals a little bit of the creative thunder. But if you're in a band that goes out there each night and puts your ass on the line and creates something and has stellar nights, right? You get out there and you create something that didn't exist before you hit the stage. And that is an incredible feeling. Going out there and playing your emotions out, draining every bit of either negative or positive energy you have in your body and pushing it out there to the audience. That is one of the most incredible feelings you can ever have, because the real reward isn't the gig, it's the fire that refuses to die. So yeah, they lied about making it, but maybe that's a good thing, because the truth is you don't make it. You keep making music, mistakes, memories, and if you're lucky, You get to keep going. You don't need permission. You don't need a trophy. You just need to show up, plug in, and play like it matters. Play with every ounce of your soul. Leave the stage drained and leave it all on the stage, because in the end, that's all you really have to give. Live and play like your life depends on it. That is the true reward.